Welcome to the Shoot It Straight podcast.
Welcome to the Shoot It Straight podcast, the best
black
golf fitness podcast.
Oh, I was
going to
say Black 2.0 edition.
Oh yeah, we painted the wall. So if you guys are watching on videos, Erica's always wanted a black wall. Actually, she would prefer the whole house be painted black.
I definitely do want a black house, but I feel like we have changed. For people that are watching us and have been watching us, we've changed. We went from our other studio to here, which has been a great change because I think the sound is better in here. We've upgraded our mics. We've now upgraded our wall, and there will be future changes to the wall. But then we'll be consistent eventually. So for people that don't like change, I do think that it's literally a thing, like to have the same things in your setting and your scenery. That is an actual like social media like strategy. Same thing with like your reels and like your more behind the scenes, like your stories.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about that with our social media consultant, but it's a thing like that people like are like, oh yeah, I'm in their living room with them or whatever. And like people definitely like, I don't think it looks different in here. It definitely, you can tell it's the same space, I think. But it looks way cool with the wall darker behind us. It looks a lot better.
And we did it ourselves. We did a pretty good job of painting a wall
I
black.
think it looks great. Yeah, our walls are a little bit textured. You can probably see that, but it definitely looks badass. Got some comments in my DMs that people are inspired by the black wall, but
black wall, black shaker.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
The black mics, but yeah.
Yeah, but I realized in a lot of our videos I have a Waterloo sitting there, and today I've got a supplement in my BrewMate.
Yeah, so we're officially at the point where you're sponsored by like everything that's in our videos is like.
Well, it's like you get to a point. It's like, we are in a business. We are here to make money, but it's also, people reach out to you and it's like, hey, do you want to use our stuff? And we'll give you some stuff and we'll give you, throw out a code and things like that. And I'm like, yeah, I use your stuff already. So
well, BrewMate is genuinely
instead of buying some new stuff, I just like, okay, cool. I'll help you. Like, we'll kind of be a little partner in this whole thing now. So it's awesome.
BrewMate is elite.
This is an elite shaker. I mean, I've gone through years of just the blender bottles, and this keeps your stuff cold. It shakes it up. It doesn't break. I've broken many blender bottles. Like once you use them and put them through the dishwasher, they break. And this thing is awesome, especially for like going out on the course and you're taking like a protein shake and it's 100 degrees outside and you're making the turn, because that's when I drink my protein usually, is middle of the round, and it's not hot and disgusting.
Right.
And I don't like throwing ice cubes in there because then it's super watery, and the more watery it is, the grosser it is. But
yeah, well, I do put ice in my drinks and it does stay icy.
Oh yeah, if you put ice in this, if you put ice in this, it'll last a long time. But I don't put it with my protein. But
oh yeah. So I have a BrewMate as well. I think it was me that turned you on to them, but
I think you made me get one.
Well, your shaker bottles were truly just getting disgusting, and it just seemed like shaker bottles have been around for a long time. Everyone knows those like OG plastic ones, and like we have been pretty much evolving from plastic entirely because it really is pretty bad. Anyway, your shaker bottles, they smell, and then they leaked. They were leaking. That was a big one too. That's a big thing with the BrewMate, is that they're fucking airtight.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they are very tight. Like if
almost to a fault. But
if you screw it on there hard, you better be ready, because it seals it up even more. So like I think you have to learn to like not tighten it too hard, because then it gets, because I don't know what the science behind it is, but it
like
seals
some sort of like vacuum seal.
It seals harder.
It does.
So whatever you did, it's going to add on like an extra like 10% over time, and then you're going to have a real hard time getting it off. So you got to kind of back off a little bit, and it doesn't spill. The lid's like magnetic, but
well, that's
I wasn't
the shaker
planning
bottle.
I wasn't planning this whole like
intro
to be a BrewMate commercial, but it's freaking awesome. So
no, it is, and I have the coffee ones are the same way. Obviously it isn't a shaker, but the seal is elite. Like it's very intense. They're magnetic. Which is nice too, because it makes just everything a little bit more. It's not flopping everywhere. Everything is like it's very well thought out, and I think for like the price that you pay for one, it's totally worth it. Like 100,000 times. One thing I like about the shaker bottle too is it's not that noisy, annoying little metal thing that's in your shit.
That does suck.
Like seriously, that is really annoying. I know that sounds
especially
goofy.
when it's empty.
Flopping everywhere, and it's just so annoying and loud. Or if it's in your backpack, it can even be like annoying. And again, I know that sounds so goofy, but it's actually just
I know. I used to carry them home from the gym and ride the metro in DC and like walk down like what was it, Fenton Street or Wayne Avenue in Silver Spring, get on the metro, and I'd hear it just back there
Yeah, like
clanking around the
bopping
whole
back
time.
and forth.
And this is before like wireless headphones. Like it was like I got tired of wearing like the long stringy headphones, so I just wouldn't wear headphones. I had to hear that thing just.
Yeah, that's annoying. It's annoying. But so yeah, here very much here for the brewmates. We've tried a lot of their different stuff, except for like the koozie cooler things that they have. But their stuff is awesome.
We'll be trying their stuff
for people looking for like an actual
like,
good water bottle that can also fit into a cup holder.
Yeah, I mean, I put and they're not the lightest thing on earth, but I put both of them in my golf. I put one for protein, one for like whatever else I'm gonna drink on the course, like my carbohydrates or my liquid IVs or whatever. And I used to like every once in a while I'd open up my golf bag and my drink would spill.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, damn it, like,
all
for
the
one,
time.
like, and there's your like hydration on the course that really sucks. And then two, like it's all over your bag, so that also sucks.
Yeah, that's a double suck.
Double suck.
Double suck.
Speaking of hydration, those dudes we were watching yesterday at the FedEx Cup in Memphis, sweating their asses off. Poor my man Lucas Glover.
I'm sorry, but I can't. It's distracting. Like it is distracting when some of those guys. I mean, I get that they're gonna sweat. It's not like I'm allergic to sweat and think that sweating is gross. But also when I'm looking at millionaires playing golf that have sponsors that also are, that are athletic brands that make clothes, you have to be like, okay, like why does this guy have good clothes that are sweat proof or breathable or whatever, or has at least 16 different outfits he can change into? And this guy is wearing saturated khaki pants. That was beyond swass. Like swass is when it's like in your butt crack and you can like see it and it's just like funny, whatever. This guy looked like he got, I mean, people know that watched the tournament this weekend, but he looked like he had like super soakers, like little kids went after him and just like annihilated him.
I kind of felt bad for him, but I've met Lucas a couple times down in Jupiter, and I do have to like put this out there that he is like the nicest guy, by far the nicest pro I've ever met. Walks
it doesn't
in.
take away from his swag.
Yeah, that's why I feel bad. I'm like, man, like, let's someone's got to help him out because he is such a nice guy. Like, damn, he can't be looking like that out there. Like, he doesn't wear a glove. Like, he was able to stay dry. Like, he looks like he's just walking around, he's got to be sweatier and shit. And he doesn't wear a glove. He's like drying it off and he wins. It's like, that's badass.
Yeah, the no glove. I mean, I'm guessing he's so fucking saturated with sweat that it's like putting on the leather pants like Ross. So he was probably like, "Fuck the glove."
Well, he doesn't wear the glove.
Okay,
like,
that's actually probably why. I think he might. We might even be like exposing. He might even have a condition at this point.
I don't know. I mean, and they kept calling him the old guy. He's only 44, so I wish they would have toned that down a little bit. He's not old, but. No, but I do. I mean, he's like, when I'm when I worked at Joey D, he walked up like, "Hi, I'm Lucas." Like, not all the pros do that. Him and Matthew Wolf are like the ones that really stand out. That, like, walked up to me like, "Hi, my name is," and I'm like, oh, "Shit, I know who you are. You're a U.S. Open champion. I know who you are." And then he came back in again, and I was wearing. I think I didn't have a hat or had a hat, and then I didn't have a hat, so you look quite a bit different. And he like walked up again. He's like, "Hi, I'm Lucas," and his trainer Colby was like, you guys have met before." He goes, "Oh yeah, you weren't wearing the hat last." I mean, he's just a super nice guy, and he'll talk to you like.
Okay, well, nice
really
guys
cool
can get new pants.
Yeah, so please hook my man up, Lucas, with some new pants. He's a super nice guy. Get him some. I don't know, like, I feel like if it was me out there, you would have been like chasing me down the fairway, like, change your pants.
Where was anybody from his team? And maybe, like, honestly, he was probably like, maybe.
But I didn't want to mess with it. He's like, "Hey, it's working."
Like,
whatever.
There's that kind of thing too, because like, yeah. Enough of that. I guess there's just it was really distracting for me. It's just like this guy. I mean, but it was like 114 degrees.
It looks nasty. His face is red. It looks
hot everywhere.
Uncomfortable.
It's just hot everywhere.
Yeah, it just looked really uncomfortable. But I mean, he got it done. So
he did.
That was
Congrats
so cool.
to him. Congrats.
Yeah, went
to
a playoff hole.
Exciting times in the golf world.
Yeah, I hope he wins the whole thing and makes the Ryder Cup. So go, Lucas.
Good job, Lucas. Good luck with your pants.
Someone's got they got to help that man out. But anyways. It is hot, so I mean, everyone's suffering through it. It's tough out there on the golf course, like, because with the humidity, you can't grip the club. It's just I played yesterday morning, and it was so wet, and it rained, like, and then it was humid, and it was just nasty. Like, it's just.
I don't like
golf.
I don't
golf
typically play this time of year. Like, we didn't play in Florida a lot. I didn't want to. I don't like it when it's hot. I know that you guys have your buddies and you get out early, but it's just. I don't know. It's hot. It's hot everywhere. I am looking forward to fall. I feel like you said this, but once it's back to school time, I feel like even though it's still really hot, it's still very much going to be hot probably for a little while in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a fall vibe in the air. I saw going by the elementary school down our house, they go back to school on Wednesday on the 16th, which is pretty early, but
Wow.
it's like, oh, okay, that time of year is coming. That's like the best time of year.
Right.
And we're all hunkering down and getting back to and back to school for a lot of people does mean like back to from summer traveling and like back to a little bit more of a routine, back to working out more consistently, like whatever.
Right. And that's like, we're starting a new cycle of lift heavy, swing fasts coming out on the 21st. So when you guys hear this, it'll already be out. And it's kind of it's a tricky time of the year for programming because, technically it's like still like very much golf season. Like if you're a player, you get out there and play on the weekends still because the weather's like nice. It's not cold yet by any means. It's still very hot. So it's like it's a nice little delicate balance of like, okay, but it is time to like kind of start changing up your training and things like that because your schedule's starting to change for the most people. I mean, like we've said on here before, we write lift heavy swing fast is not. I don't have a bunch of pros doing the program. We got hundreds of normal golfers, normal people. So like their kids are going back to school. Their vacations are probably over. Like getting back to your routine, which does mean going back to the gym more, working out more. So it's like, okay, now all my athletes have been doing on lift heavy swing fast, like a lower volume program with more intensity. And now we're like going to slowly get back into more volume as everyone's schedules kind of go back to the school time and no vacations and things like that. So
no, it's good to be like ebbing and flowing with the season. Seasons are good. And again, it's like funny when even if you live in a place that doesn't have seasons, like we all go through the seasons.
Right.
It's they just exist, whether it's societal or whatever, like the holidays and like so it's good to have these like natural seasons and it's good to assess your workout routine around those too because again, like, doing heavy volume all the time eventually gets old. You get burnout or like whatever. I'm going into a new workout cycle. So are you. You've been experimenting with some different stuff, which we'll get into, but it feels it's always good. I like the change of seasons always feels, it's just a good opportunity to kind of like reassess
right
like where you're at, quarterly check-in of like your fitness routine, but also just like life goals, things like that.
Right. And it is good to change up your program after you've been doing something for a while. Like, it should change. Like it should, you should do different amounts of volumes, different levels of intensity, different exercises every so often. But the guy I played with the other day, he was talking about, I've always been, how did he word this? How did it come up? Anyways, muscle confusion came up. Yeah, and he was like, oh yeah, you got to make sure you do the muscle confusion or confuse your muscles. And I was like, whoa, I haven't heard that in a long time. The muscle confusion thing, and I was like, wow, so people still like believe that, that our muscles like have brains or something, and they get confused or they I don't know.
I don't think that comes from people thinking that muscles have brains and that muscles are confused. People think that you should be changing it up all the time. That's just what I think people just think. That your workouts are meant to be changed up, and there's a difference between what you and I were just talking about doing like periodization and seasonal type changes, and then there's I'm going to do 6 different types of workouts throughout the week or hit up 4 different studios and do different group X classes to keep my body guessing was always like the thing that's what I used to think. We've talked on here about our old beliefs that we had when we were early trainers or new in the fitness world, and like totally I was that person that was like, oh well, I do a little bit of everything, and thought that wasn't really like why I did everything. I did everything because I liked to do, like I was dabbling and like liked to do everything, but like in the back of my mind I was like, well, this is also like what you're supposed to do. Like I should be doing this and this and this. And again, there is cross training. There are things that we should be doing that have variety. It does absolutely get boring if you just genuinely do the exact same thing over and over again. But for anyone that's out there that thinks the muscle confusion thing is a thing, no, we certainly can adjust to a certain type of stimulus. So if you're running every other day and you do the same 3-mile loop the same way over and over and over again, and you expect yourself to get faster all of a sudden, newsflash, you're going to be the exact same unless you change it up and do speed work and push your pace and, do, VO2 max training and all that kind of stuff. Same thing with lifting weights. If you're doing reps at 3 for a while, you should probably change it up. It's exactly why we do what we do in our programs,
Mm-hmm.
and specifically this new phase coming up for lift heavy, swing fast.
Right.
Changing up the volume.
Right. And it'll have
the
like
rep
a,
schemes.
it's for 6 weeks. It's going to have a repeating move. It's going to have a movement that repeats, and then some movements will alternate every other week.
Yeah.
But like there will be a main focus, and you always want to make sure that you're tracking your weights, right? Like, you know, you're documenting like what you did the week before, because yeah, you don't want to do the exact same thing again.
Right.
It's different if you do a different weight,
Yes.
even though it's the same reps. Like,
Right.
if you do more, you're progressing.
Yes.
You know, so it's that's important. Like, yeah, you know, you do see people at the gym that go in and do the same. Or used to. I actually at the gym we go to now, like people are a little more advanced.
Yeah,
but,
they are.
you know, when I used to work at the Golds or whatever, you'd see the guy come in and do the tricep machine and put the same weight on the same pin, and you know, he'd do the same number of reps and probably drink the same amount of water and do the same little loops around like when he was in between his sets, and
Exactly.
you know, like, so I mean, it was the exact same thing. Like, you know, and that's not, just because it's the exact same exercise and the same reps, you need to make the adjustment of the stimulus by adding more intensity, by adding more weight.
Totally. Yeah. Advancing yourself, making progress.
Yeah.
That, you know, progress is the root word of progressive overload.
Right.
Which
Yeah,
I
so
think,
muscle confusion came up, and it made me think of like watching like the
Man.
old P90X video or something like that.
Yes, literally. Yes, P90X. Oh my gosh.
Well, and then I think, you know, CrossFit, like, kind of in their ethos or in their mission statement, whatever it is like constantly varied functional movements, blah 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 blah. Eat nuts, fruit, and berries, or whatever it is they say in that whole thing. But I mean, I remember like CrossFit from their like early days, like they did like they were training like first responders and firefighters and things like that, was like who they, and maybe even people in the military or whatever, but like that was kind of like their thing, was like be ready to take on anything. Like, so they trained you to do all this crazy shit because who knows what you're going to be confronted with as like a firefighter or a police officer or whatever it is. But, you know, most people, like, that's not coming up for you anytime, you know? So like you can train like a normal person.
Well, again, it goes back to like what we always say, and it's like, what is your goal? And we've
Right.
said this before too. If your goal is to just move your body a few times a week, then sure, going and doing the same shit that you do at the gym every time for years and years and years is better than doing nothing. It's
Right.
better than the person sitting on the couch and not going to the gym and moving
For sure.
around and getting some steps and getting some activity.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you can't sit there and complain that you're not making progress or getting faster or getting stronger or still have pain when you're doing the same things over and over again, or choosing random programming or dropping in on these group X classes or whatever.
Right.
This is where following a program is literally required. It's
Yeah.
like,
Or even just like, you know, I think some people are also guilty of just like switching equipment around. Like, okay, like I did the barbell this week, I'm going to do this like hack squat this week, I'm going to do the leg press next week. Like, even though like, you know, you could get some of the similar outcomes from those movements, like you still need to like pick one and progress that one for a little while before you switch to the other one.
yes.
You know?
Yes. Yeah, and again, tracking your progress totally makes, if you're out there golfing, like you're keeping score and you're seeing your score improve, or, you know, we kind of like pick and choose the things that we measure our progress on, but like working out should be no different.
Right. I mean, some golfers are super into the analytics. Like they have little things out there too that you can put on your clubs and see how far your ball is going. I have my watch. Some people on their scorecard, they literally write down how many putts was on each hole. I mean, my watch does all that for me, but you know, how many sand saves you got, how many 3 putts you had, you know, how many fairways you missed, greens. I mean, the list, I mean, you can just, you know, look up, you know, the stats, like, you know, list goes on. And we need that also for the gym too. You need to know, I mean, if you follow a program, it's all in there for you, but like exercise placement, like just because you did this exercise number 1 this week, if you do it number 6 next week, it's going to be a huge difference for you.
Yeah. Your
rate of perceived exertion, like on a scale of 0 to 10, like how challenging was that, 10 being the hardest and 0 being really easy. Like monitoring all that stuff is it's going to be a part of our next cycle too. But like, and I wrote a blog about explaining that stuff today, but it's really important that you track all that stuff so you can really see your progress and feel it.
Yes.
So there's so much you can track. Our app does all that for you, so that's a really cool thing about it. That's why we chose Train Heroic. But yeah, tracking your stuff is so important.
It is. And I think, again, like in the fitness world, golf or not fitness, like the scale for so many people is the metric, because people, again, get back into the workout routine to get healthy, lose weight, drop some body weight, whatever. And then it's like, but again, if that's the only thing keeping you in, that gets real old real fast.
Right.
Because A, it's slow and not instantaneous. And B, you know, when there's so many, I think like the list we've gone through is like dozens and dozens and dozens of things besides the scale that you can track progress related to.
Mm-hmm.
Performance, sleep, energy, all of the things,
Right.
an actual weight of your squat going up, or weights on the barbell, or weights on the machine, or whatever. Like,
Mm-hmm.
again, being able to go through a golf round not winded. Like, there's just like so many things, and so I think that you know, shifting away from that, and it's crazy, yeah, the muscle confusion thing, and just hearing the things that have existed now for decades that have just are ingrained in people's brains. It's really, really wild.
Oh, it's wild. I mean, what my mom tell me the other day? Distilled water is bad for your joints or something that she heard. I'm like, what? Where does this shit come from?
It's like, people focus on the smallest like thing, and still, it's like, or my Whoop said this, and I'm like, but you're drinking alcohol 7 days a week and you don't sleep. But we're like focused on distilled water. Like, let's not jump over, jump over dollar bills to snatch pennies, or whatever the expression is. It's like, there's bigger rocks that we could be moving here. Like, we just because some study and some bullshit news article that you didn't read, but you read the headline, says one thing, doesn't mean that it's true. Doesn't mean that it's being reflected appropriately in the article. Like, it's crazy, crazy, crazy. People will read and then all of a sudden be like, well, this is the key.
Right.
This is it. Guess what?
It's about that. It's so much about that stuff.
It's not. And I just had a really hard conversation with my client. I was telling you about this yesterday. So over the weekend, we were kind of going back and forth. And I've been working with her for almost 2 years, year and 20 months or something like that. Anyway, and like just kind of had some come to Jesus moments with her. And 20 months is a long time. Anybody that goes to sign up for a program or work with a coach, for you to tell a newbie or somebody that hasn't done something like what they're doing with me with nutrition coaching before, 20 months is like, well, fuck that. I'm not doing that. I see things for 30 days and 6 weeks on the internet. Fuck you. Like, I'm not doing that. I never tell people that when we're onboarding that they're going to work with me for 3 years, but it's been multiple times now I've worked with people for 2+ years. It happens a lot for the people that really do want to change their bodies, have fitness goals, like really want to change their body composition. And she was like, thank you for explaining to me. Like, I had no idea that, like, the body that you have or the body that I want might take me a decade. That might take me 5, 6, 7, 8 years to just like to really make like change. And this is, again, it depends on the person. It depends on where you're at, how long and what you want, and like what kind of body composition you really want. But the point is that, like, just like following a program, like you can follow Lift Heavy Swing Faster. We've seen really good results from people that say 30 days in, they're already seeing changes in their mobility.
Oh, like 2 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like, also imagine, cool, that happened in 2 weeks. Imagine what happens if you stick with something for a year. I think a year is a fair thing. That is something that I bring up for people that are new. I'm like, give yourself, and then here's another expression. You overestimate what you can do in a week and underestimate what you can do in a year, or some iteration of that. And it's so true, where we're like, well, in 30 days, it's got to be this. And it's like, okay, but like, what if we just take a year? What if you're 45, 1 year out of 45 years is not that much time, like, to really make progress and to like change the trajectory that your life is going in, like, truly.
Right.
Because you go through a lot of cycles that, like, hard shit happens and life happens, and you get to experience that with your coach or during your program or whatever. And it's like, that is a great amount of time for you to like really come full circle on something and give yourself the time to like make some good lasting change that you'll take with you for the rest of your life, versus, well, I'm expecting to see things happen instantaneously. Again, things do happen quickly, but I just have to always come back to that with people. I feel like it's always a good reminder, like, to just stay patient with stuff when you're starting out a new program. And I think our athletes there's been a good amount of people that have done a lot of good stuff in the early days, and it'll be cool to see as people continue. Like,
yeah, where they'll be at years from now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild, right? So today's topic that we're actually going to jump into, I mean, it is sort of centered around our programs. And that is just different pieces of equipment to get fit for golf. I think that there has definitely been, and maybe because I'm new to the golf fitness space, but there's a lot of toys and fun things out there. Speaking of people that like to go buy things and get fast results and, oh, this will change my swing if I buy this.
Right.
Golf plus fitness equals lots
More
of
toys.
people out there wanting to buy the toys. And you have quite a few toys and fun things that you've definitely used to like experiment with, and or brands have sent you stuff. So I think you have a really good idea of, I mean, this is going to be all you. I can't speak on much of this topic really at all, but love to kind of go back and forth with you on some of your favorite tools and some of the tools that maybe people can do without. And then we'll go into just sort of like, you know, different types of things that people have at home, because of course not everybody has access to everything, and there's quite a bit of people listening that follow our programs that have home gyms. So let's start off with that. Let's start off with your general like favorites for equipment that gets people fit for golf.
So I don't want to get into like the two specialty stuff. We'll save that to the end. Okay. So we'll kind of put this in order of most essential.
Yes.
And then we'll kind of move it on as we progress.
Yes.
Unless I jump ahead on accident.
We won't step over $100 bills to grab pennies.
Right. My thought process here is I'm going to try to start with the stuff I think everyone should have. And then as the list goes on, you can kind of put those at the lower end of your
Christmas list.
Higher, the needs list. Yeah. So first up, I mean, so a lot of people's issues come from lack of strength. Physical strength is the most important thing to our physical body, right? Outside of like your brain power to keep your body alive and moving and stuff like that, physical strength is super important. So throughout our life, we need to find ways to progressively overload our body, add resistance training. And what's interesting is a lot of people think they need to start with body weight. Like, I need to do body weight movements first. I'm like, okay, give me 10 push-ups.
Right.
You know, people are good at, will drop down and give you 10 solid push-ups.
No.
Not a lot.
Yeah.
So, and like body weight squats, okay, but you know, I mean, those are excellent, but like, so let's put your body weight aside first. We need some weights. We need to find, because if you can't do a push-up, and you probably can't, a lot of people can't do pull-ups, so, you know, we need to do things that are going to get us stronger in the pushing motion, pulling motion, squatting, hinging like the deadlift, so dumbbells.
Well, let's put that in perspective for people. Like, the reason that you can't necessarily, or a lot of people can't jump right into a push-up, is because let's just take a 150-pound person.
Mm-hmm.
You're pushing 150 pounds essentially, right? Give or take, whatever. So like, like that's the equivalent of like doing a 150-pound bench press is going to be a little bit different.
Right. Can we modify it a million different ways? Can I go put my hands on that table and make it an elevated push-up?
Yeah.
Sure. Could I put a towel around my door and do like a towel row that's a little bit easier than a pull-up? Yes. But I think the number one piece of equipment you need to have in your gym is weights. So it could be kettlebells or dumbbells.
Yes.
Kettlebells are a little, slightly more advanced. They're alive. They're a more dynamic like piece of equipment to use.
Yes.
So weights are going to be the number one. So dumbbells, barbells, kettlebells are going to be my number one priority for everyone to have. Is going to be, and ideally, you want to have an assortment. Because like you can't do the same dumbbells for every single exercise.
That's right.
Or you shouldn't be able to. You shouldn't be able to squat and deadlift the same dumbbell that you can overhead press for the same amount of reps, and get a challenging, stimulus out of that.
Yes.
So weights are first and foremost. And just adding a bunch of, and then at some point, if you just have your body weight and you get good at these movements, now you're just doing a ton of reps. I mean, I've written a body weight program. I have to make sure I add in jumps and things like that. And you got to get really creative to make your body weight effective. And can it be done? Sure. But, if for me, for example, like I can squat a whole lot of weight and I can do it well. Like for me to actually get a workout for my legs, like I'm going to have to do like 1,000 squats.
And it would just be a completely different, 1,000 squats, like, as we know from doing, that's like literally a hero workout. Or
that would just be ridiculous, and that's not going to get
you up.
And I'd be sore and like, it would just be stupid. So
that's right.
Anyways, weights are going to be number one on my priority list.
Okay. Wait.
Should I combine like dumbbells and kettlebells and barbells and all in there? But like,
keep it simple.
You need weights.
You need weights, and you should have like you already said, you should have a variety of weights.
Right. And that's for your home gym. If you want to get some crazy contraption of a machine too that can do a million different things that adds resistance to you, sure. You got to find a way to add weight to your body.
Yes.
Number one.
All right. That's tier. I like thinking of it in tiers.
Yeah. And
Tier
weights too, like, 'cause number 2 is bands.
Okay.
Weights being over priority of bands is because you know how much resistance the weight has.
Yeah. It's consistent.
Bands, you don't. Unless
Yeah.
you're going to put marks on your floor or something, or like you're going to stand this exact way away from wherever you anchor the band to. You're going to stand this exact spot. I'm going to do 10 reps here. Next week, I'm going to take an inch step back. No one does that. So like
no one, never have
no
I
one,
ever done that.
Yeah, no one has ever done that. No one's going to do that. Like, so you can't progressively overload bands like you can weights. But bands are great for golfers too.
Yes.
I like the loop bands or the ones with handles because you can do quite a bit more with those. You can still do all your pressing. You can actually add in, a little more speed work with the bands. People think you can do more mobility stuff with bands. I would argue that you can still do a lot of mobility stuff with weights too.
Yes.
But bands are going to be second. That's when you're going to get maybe some more of your golf-specific movements. You can get more of your rotation. Like, I do like doing more rotation stuff with bands, like doing a dumbbell rotation the way that, because it's gravity, the bell's just always trying to go down. So if you're trying to get, some like rotation or like a lateral movement or something like that, like,
it's pulling on your shoulders. And
yeah. It's gravity. The weight's always trying to go towards the floor, where like if you get a band, you can like kind of twist a little bit more and things like that. You can anchor it to pretty much anything as long as it doesn't come flying off and hit you. That's important. So that would be number 2 for home equipment.
Okay. Are we done with home equipment? Does tier 3 move into more?
No, I got a couple more.
Oh, okay. So we're still at home.
We're
building out the home gym.
I mean, let's say like the top 3 I think you need to have.
Okay.
You can get away with doing power movements with dumbbells again, but I like medicine balls.
Yeah.
If you can slam them around your house, great. If not, I do find them still to be very dynamic. You can still do a lot of explosive power. You can get a lot of rotational movements. I just like the medicine balls.
Yeah, for sure. And you're talking about, there's a lot of medicine balls out
there.
I mean, there's more than ever.
So a few different ones. Like, there's the like wall balls that you see in CrossFit that are big.
Bigger ones.
Yeah, those can be slammed around however they bounce. You
Yes.
gotta be careful. So if you're gonna slam that into the ground, they bounce. They don't bounce as fast as some other ones. Some other ones are like basketballs and bounce a lot. They typically are a little bit heavier too. And then they have ones that just die when they hit the floor. Like, I call them like dead balls. Right. So those are probably the ones I would recommend you get.
Those are literally called D-balls.
Yeah. And you don't want to get those too heavy because, again, those are typically for speed work.
Yeah.
So like if you have a garage gym, you can probably slam it into the ground. If you don't, you can go outside and you can like throw it. You got to chase after it, but that's fine because you need to rest in between like your power movements anyway. So like you could throw it, walk over there, pick it up and throw it again or something like that. You see people doing that like out in the street or parking lots and things like that. Like, that's fine. Or in your backyard, whatever you want to do. So that's number 3 would be balls.
So we got kettlebells, dumbbells, weights, number 1.
We just kind of lumped that all in there.
We lumped weights together. I think that's fine. Tier 2 is bands. Tier 3 is medicine balls.
Right.
Tier 4.
So I should also say, like, you do need some accessories to go along with your weights. Like if you've got a barbell, you probably need a rack. We
don't need to get into the minutia.
Yeah, but
that's
like
okay.
those little things, you need those too.
That's
but anyways,
okay.
I just want to make that clear too. All right, now it's like some more of like the and like boxes and things. But anyways, so next is like products that like we're like kind of sponsored by or partners with. So I think stick mobility is really cool.
Yeah.
I think it is the best mobility tool that is out there. The sticks that bend, the big orange ones. If you follow me on Instagram or any of the other social media platforms, see me using that one all the time. And we had Neil here, the co-founder of Stick Mobility, on this podcast talking about stick mobility. So if you want to go back and check that episode out, but I think it is the best mobility or flexibility. Those two terms get kind of thrown around, mobility and flexibility, or stretching tool for golfers is the stick mobility.
It's awesome.
Yeah, because it really makes you strong in the long position. Like, so you're stretching and you're getting strength to that because in my mind, if you got a really long range of motion, but you have no strength throughout that range of motion, it's essentially worthless. Like you can't really do anything with it.
Yes.
Which if you're a hypermobile person, you know what this feels like because you get into like these crazy ranges of motion, maybe in the backswing of your golf swing. This is typically females, not men, and you don't feel like you got any power there. It's it's just you're super mobile without the power. Men usually have the exact opposite where they feel very stiff and they still need strength. Tightness is weakness, right? So you're tight and you're also weak. They think, oh, I'm so like bodybuilders, whatever, are so big and strong and tight. It's like, no, they're just fine. They just got a lot of muscle.
Yep.
You are tight and weak.
Yes.
As well, like your upper back, your neck, or your ability to rotate your shoulders, like, and if you've spent a lot of time like at a desk or driving or whatever, your pecs are tight. They're still weak. They're not jacked from you being hunched over.
Correct.
They are weak and tight,
Yes.
and you need to fix that.
Yes.
And so that's a great
it's like
tool
people
to
say
use
their
it.
quads are so tight from their extra. I run twice a week. I'm like, well, you're sitting like 98 hours a week, so
Yeah.
that's why your quads are tight.
Yep. And the stick mobility is a cool. That's why I put it like as the next one down, is because it can like help you do other things too. Like you can hold it while you do like a weight training exercise. So if you wanted to do like a Romanian or like a single leg deadlift or a lunge or something like that, where you need a little extra balance help to get better at it, you can use one of the sticks if you buy the bundle, because like one of them's a little bit shorter and it's a little bit it doesn't bend as easy as the big ones, and they're meant to bend. That's kind of the really cool thing about them. But you can use it for balance and stability and kind of doing some other stuff too that would complement like using weights and bands and stuff like that.
Yeah, the stick's awesome, and like lasts honestly we've had ours now for a really long time. They get used and they last.
Right.
Like their durability isn't like, we talked to Neil about that. I just think that that's kind of fascinating because you kind of like abuse them. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do to them. Right. Is push on them and pull on them and all this stuff. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, and then they travel well too. So I mean, they're
long, but
they're
skinny.
Long. Like they'd be a good, like, you got to put them in your car for a road trip. You're not taking them on the airplane. But
but they're not it's not like throwing a barbell around.
Right.
With weight plates.
Right.
You can't just like throw in the back of your car.
Right.
Okay, so 4. That's 4. No.
I got a few more.
Oh, okay.
That was 4. This is our second. This is our second tier. We're calling this, right?
Oh, but we're coming. Yeah, this is fun accessory.
Yeah.
Fun accessory.
Yeah.
Tools.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the next one is the Golf Forever.
Yes.
The stick, the swing trainer. Really dynamic movements you can do with that. Helps you kind of like, because you're holding the stick, so you can do some more pressing, some more rowing, good rotation, and it helps you like kind of keep the width because you're grabbing that, and you can hold it a million different ways, simulate the golf swing if you want. A lot of good stability, tons of core work with it. And it also actually comes with some bands and handles too. So if you wanted to, this could kind of take the place of something you would, put in your gym for our second tier of the bands. This comes with some of that stuff too. Yeah. So, really great tool.
Does it have one anchor? Is it like where can you anchor like to both sides of the stick?
It comes with one.
Okay.
Right. And it comes with door anchors, stuff like that. So it's good for travel too. But that's a really good dynamic tool, and it can be used for power because you can really kind of push, the stick hard with the bands. Little bit of mobility work as well, balance. It's unilateral as well, so it's always going to be pulling from one side, so you got to do both sides. But that's a cool thing to like kind of challenge your body and your brain to learn how to do, is like it's always going to be pulling this one side.
That's what I was getting at, is wondering if you could ever pull it from two sides. So that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really helpful for golfers. Mm-hmm. Like anti-rotation, am I saying that correctly?
Anti-rotation, rotations, like all that stuff is important. So I mean, yeah, you can do all of that with that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and Scotty Scheffler, is that his thing?
Yeah, a lot of those guys use it. Scheffler. Yeah.
Big fan of the Golf Forever. Okay, what's next?
What is next? Help me out here. I'm drawing a blank.
I mean, your ripstick.
Well, that's not necessarily for the gym.
Tools. I mean, you have so many toys. What kind of toys do you want me to bring?
I mean, that's really it. Those are, to keep it like super basic. That's really, if you had all those in your gym, you are set.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed them all. I think.
Oh, a TRX.
I was gonna say TRX.
TRX. So like that.
Yeah,
suspension trainer. So that for sure, a suspension trainer. I really like those for beginners. because that can really help you do push-ups, rows, squats, lunges,
Yes.
moving laterally, like Cossack squats, lateral lunges. It can help you clean up your like single leg deadlift.
Yeah.
Great dynamic core exercises you can
Yeah.
do with that too. Rotation. It's actually got good. You can do a lot of stretching. With the TRX. So yeah, the TRX definitely.
I would put that up there as like probably like right after the home gym stuff.
Yeah, that's up there for sure.
You can get a lot out of that.
You can get a lot out of the TRX. Again, though, the TRX is challenging to progressively overload.
Right.
Unless you're like, because it all depends
measuring how far your body weight is angled and all of that stuff. Totally.
Right.
It's a very much like RPE, ratings of perceived exertion tool.
Mm-hmm.
Because some days you got it with the bicep curls and some days you just don't.
Yep.
But yes, to your point, like you can't necessarily progressively overload it. Maybe you can for a few weeks, adding in some reps and things like that, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But the TRX is pretty cool. Very easy to travel with.
Mm-hmm.
Like Beyond.
Yep.
Super small. They have a little mesh sack that it comes in.
Sack.
Yeah,
good.
But it's like a sack.
It's a sack.
That's not like an Oklahoma sack where every bag is a sack. Like it is actually like a sack.
It is a sack. It's a great sack. What's That Strap comes with sacks too. What's That Strap be another cool one. If you want a cool accessory, I do think you need a cable machine for those.
I feel like it's very advanced when you don't know what you're doing.
You got to know what you're doing with the What's the Strap.
Because I'll be honest, like if I had that and I've been doing the fitness and I can do the things, but like I don't know about that.
It's challenging.
I
so I do think there's a lot. Like if you've got some bucks, if you're a rich person, if you want to go spend some money on some stuff, a cable tower is really sweet.
Yeah.
That would be like your that if you can afford that would go up there above. That would be number 2 for me. Would be a cable.
Before bands.
Would be before bands, yeah.
Wow, that's saying a lot.
Yeah, that'd be before bands.
Nowadays you can find them on.
You can.
The gyms are like, the old version's way out, and they last. Some of that stuff lasts forever. Like, it doesn't go bad. It's just maybe a little old and rinky dinky or chunky or whatever. But
yeah, if you can get you a cable tower, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Gosh, what is it like transporting that? I guess you can probably take it very much apart, but.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, the weights come with it. They're heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, so.
That's
yeah,
wild.
if you can get one of those, that's pretty sweet.
Well, no, I think this was really helpful, and we've been like, you did a really good poll. I think we've kind of come up with like about 50% of people ish, give or take, work out at home.
52% is what I got.
That's wild. That's a lot, and I think that COVID probably sped that up a little bit, but that's a lot of people.
Yeah, so that's putting in. After I did that poll, it really opened my eyes. I mean, I've always put like home gym swaps into Lift Heavy Swing Fast because you are able to do it at home. But now I'm gonna get really creative because it's like, I mean, we did our poll. I think I did a poll on Lift Heavy Swing Fast, and it's a little different for the people that do ours. Like there is more people that have access to a full gym or their home gym is fully stocked and they don't have any issues.
Yeah.
But there still was enough in there that I want to make it really creative for people to be able to get everything out of the program that I want, while still be doing it on limited equipment. There's always going to be a limiting factor. Like if you don't have, if all you have is like a pair of 20-pound dumbbells, we can only do so much.
Well, yeah. I mean,
like you got to have a little bit more than that.
And we're honest with people about that. We're not out
like
here
straight
trying
up,
to be like, you can have one set of dumbbells for 6 weeks. Like you're going to be bored out of your mind, and we don't recommend it.
Yeah.
It's just not what our program is all about.
Yeah. It's
just, and I think that's
it's
fine.
not going to work.
No, but hopefully this is helpful, and like you said, you're adding a lot more swaps. I think even if you don't always work out at a home gym, one thing I appreciate about the ability to swap is like if you are on the road for a week, you can still like, oh, I'll do this instead. I'm not at my regular gym this week, but I'll do this to hit my quads, or use this band instead of this cable machine, or like whatever. It's nice to have that option for people that like do have access, but maybe just want to be able to swap for that week or whatever.
Well, and I also want to think about it too is our gym we go to right now can get pretty busy. And so I want to give people enough swaps that if you're at the gym and all the cable towers are used or all of this is being used, you have multiple options. Like, so that way you don't have to like, because our workouts I just did the new cycle this morning. It's right at like 60 minutes.
Yeah.
And if you got to spend time looking around and waiting in line and stuff like that for a piece of equipment to come available, like you're going to be there for a while.
Totally.
So I want you to be able to adapt to that quickly, or just the way your gym is set up. I mean, that's one thing I think we have a huge advantage on when I write programs is like I've spent a lot of years in a million different gyms. Not a million, but a lot of different gyms. And I know what it's like to be in a gym and someone write a circuit for you and you got to be over here to do this and you got to go all the way over to the other side of the gym to do that. Like I want to be able to give people options to where you can do it all in like one little spot, because that's a huge thing. Because like we've both had programs where someone's like, hey, do this rower, then do the bike, then do the barbell, then do the dumbbells, then grab a kettlebell, like all in the same circuit. It's like, how the hell am I gonna do that in this crowded gym?
Totally.
There's no way.
Totally. And we're both people, like I'm not afraid to like set boundaries and like hold space in the gym, but I'm also like not an asshole, and I'm aware of that too, because I hate when people are all over the shit and doing like triple supersets with like 16 different things of equipment.
Right. It's annoying.
It is.
And I just don't want you to have to be that person, like, because I don't want to be that person.
Totally. No.
And then it's like, and then just lacks efficiency and effectiveness.
It does, because then you're like, hey, it's like setting up sometimes for 10 minutes is like, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that too. Like, that's why, who was I going back and forth with? Dan Herbig. And we're talking about barbell hip thrusters for, it's like I actually do like a barbell hip thruster. I just hate setting it up.
The machines that exist now, which we've seen,
yes.
And again, I'm new to the hip thruster, but like I feel like the machines are more popular because everyone's into the booty the last couple of years. All these machines, I'm like, God, yeah, it makes me do them. I would literally fuck the bar. It hurts on your hips. I don't care how much body fat you do or do not have. It hurts, or your private area. Like it is not comfortable. Mm-hmm. You see these people that like want to ego lift 4 plates on each side. It's obscene. Plus you're sitting on plates. Plus plates are behind you to hold you in place.
Yeah,
like,
it's too much.
It is. Yeah, the machine thing is just as effective.
So if you put that in a workout with somebody in a circuit, it's like, okay, you got to do that plus 2 other things.
Yes.
Like, and that's just, I think that's where our experience and my experience of like working in busy gyms. I worked in busy gyms in Washington, D.C. Like I knew it was like to have 15 trainers on the floor and I work at a gym that had 5,000 members.
That's right.
Like you have to be able to consolidate.
No, totally.
And if you're a new person at the gym, like if you're joining our programs and you've never been to the gym before, like I want to make sure that you feel comfortable and like you don't have to, because you need like some knowledge to like know how to put all this stuff together.
It's a thing. Yeah, for sure.
Less barriers for people is what I'm trying to do.
No, I love that. That's awesome.
And for myself, because I do these too. I don't want to go in there and do that.
Well, no, I think that, again, that's what you said. It's like what sets us apart is like, okay, let's think about this. Again, this program would be awesome on paper, but like how is it applying in real life?
That is huge in this industry is like, yeah, there's some cool stuff you see these people do or post online but then I question, I'm like, have you ever actually worked with a normal human?
It's why I say to like nutrition, it's like, yes, eating only whole foods and never touching a processed food is totally, that sounds great on paper. Have you ever worked with real human beings or lived in America?
Yeah.
Like get with the program. Like it's truly like about working with people with where they're at and what our circumstances are. And like the majority of people, I'm not going to set up
and I fell into that rabbit hole. I'm not going to lie. I, some of my posts recently, our social media consultant, she was just like, hey, like, I don't understand what you're posting. She was like, I'm a normal person. I don't get this. She's not a fitness person.
No, it's good for that
And she's like, who are you posting this for? Other trainers or for you? I was like, shit. I was like, I guess I didn't realize like what I've been consuming. And now I think like I need to compete and sound like the smartest guy in the room all the time. It's like, no, like normal people don't want to read that crap.
They don't want to read your crap. They don't care about like what you're. Yeah, I mean, there's certain people that are doing that for different audiences or speaking to more coaches. But like, yeah, it's important to remember like our people, our athletes, and like what they're looking for, and we do want to make people better and not make them feel discouraged or give them unrealistic expectations of setting up 38 things at the gym. So good on us.
Yeah, and it's just it's the time too. Like you got to value your time. Like, golfers, like if you're someone that's wanting to go play golf too, like we can't spend 3 hours at the gym and 3 hours at the golf course.
Totally.
That's your whole day.
Yes, it's a lot. So
3 hours at the golf course is underestimating, by the way. So
yeah, what are we doing?
I don't know why I said 3. It's more like 5. We all know this.
Minimum.
It's more like 6.
Yeah, and by 5 you mean 6 because that includes going back and forth from the golf course. Not everyone lives across the street from the golf course. Sometimes you drive an hour.
Yeah.
So it is a day.
I used to in DC. So.
Well, I think this was really helpful. It's helpful for me, actually, hearing the
Yeah.
tiers. I think this would be a good little graphic to make.
There you go.
An
Let's do
infographic,
it.
like a pyramid of
Yeah.
the hierarchy of needs, fitness
Hierarchy.
edition.
Yep.
This is just us brainstorming. It's just coming out. Blah, but that's
Yeah.
there you go. That's your
on our
homework
podcast.
assignment.
Oh, I have more homework.
This
I already
week.
have a whole list of work you gave me earlier.
What I'm obsessed with this week is rucking.
Mm.
Got my ruck. Been doing it. It's hard. It hurt my body. We went for a 4-mile hike.
Yeah, my feet still hurt. I rucked the 14-pound fluffy worm over there.
We did good though. I mean, again, everything is relative. Like somebody's 4 miles could be another person's mile. It could be another person's 14-mile hike, right? But like for us, we both had weight on our back and we were doing like some elevation for sure. And it was hard. And I think Friday I felt like shit. I felt really depleted.
Mm-hmm. My golf game was not good on Friday.
It was wild. And
Yeah.
I slept really good. Like again, and like fed myself. Like that, all of that has been very much in alignment. But I'm like getting halfway through Friday and I'm like, I feel like I've been beat to shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, like we rucked yesterday. That was like probably pretty taxing. Now, I'm looking at my metrics and stuff. I don't pay attention to a lot of this stuff, but like on my Garmin, for example, which again, mine's from 2016. I don't know how accurate like heart rate is for mine, to be completely honest. It didn't even have me like in zone 2.
Me neither.
Okay, so then I'm like, well, that might be right, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how good they are at knowing zone 2. I think that's a hard one for the wearables to get. Because if you're like zone 2 really should be like if you're talking on the phone to somebody, they can tell that you're working out. Like you can talk, you can have conversation, but it's also like you're taking a breath every couple of minutes or every couple of seconds, and you're obviously working out on the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's like we were there. Like I wasn't like not the whole time, but for sure, like if we were going upstairs and stuff, I was not.
Yeah, there were certain points that got challenging.
Yeah. So I don't know how accurate they are. Like at the lower levels is what I'm saying, but
Right.
And again, this is why being objective, this is why not relying on your wearables is really what I meant to say is important.
Right.
I know that we got a fucking workout in, and I don't think that it was below zone 2. I'm pretty sure it was probably even higher than that at times, given how I felt the next day. But here's to future ones being a little bit less taxing on the body because.
Yeah, I think I'm actually still kind of a little tired from that.
You might be
because I've walked the golf course. I don't think I've actually recovered.
Yeah, you've been doing
yet.
more of the walking. We haven't. Yeah, and like I feel like your body doesn't do a lot of walking very well.
Yeah, my feet hurt and stuff like that. So yeah.
I feel fine, but I think Friday was really bad. But yeah, that's what I'm obsessed with. Anything for you?
Yeah, I'm obsessed with Goob.
Dude.
The Goob on Instagram. If you guys don't know who I'm talking about, he's what's his name, like Jack Dorsey, or is it Jack Dorsey? He's like the same like Twitter name as the CEO of Twitter. I think that's his real name.
I don't know his name honestly.
All right, so his handle is like
Goob,
letter U2 or something like that. But anyways, so
if you type in Goob, he'll come up because he's growing very fast.
Goob, yeah, Goob. Anyways, so what he does is he does some other stuff, but his main thing is that he exposes fitness influencers for being frauds.
Yes.
Or actually just being terrible people, because he'll expose them for being like child molesters.
He does sexual predators. Yeah, like pedophiles that are still in the gym space. And he'll do a lot of people that edit their photos. And recently he did one of people that edit their clients' before and after photos, which I think is like, that's terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. So it's just crazy to see. And he's got a great page, and he's always like his tagline's "Welcome to the show," because the show is going to be all about you, but it's not going to be good if you end up on his show. Like you are in.
I love when people comment. Like people are always like, "LOL." Like, can you imagine opening up your Instagram and it says "Goob" tagged you in a reel, and you're like,
"What did he? What?"
Like, oh.
Oh my god.
No, it's an example of somebody who's just like. Well, for one, his stuff is like raunchy is not the word because it's not raunchy. It's just like it's shocking.
Yeah.
So it's like I was making sure Squat wasn't adjusting our audio.
He thought about it.
It's very like, oh my god, like holy shit, the stuff that he exposes and the way that he exposes it. But what I like about his account, seriously, I'm going to move the audio.
It's fine.
I didn't want Squat to put us on pause. What I like about his account, and I told you this, is what I think sets him apart, is he's not just out there bashing people to bash people. He's really objective about it. Like, he will just be like, hey, like, this is your picture, and look at the brick behind you that is obviously very curvy because you literally edited your body in your photos. Like, you can't argue with it. It's not like he's just like, oh, I heard this. It's no hearsay. It's all like, this is what it is. Here's a screenshot of exactly what you did. He does a really good job too of like finding pictures to compare pictures to. So like he'll find an old photo of the same wall, so he'll literally show you this is what the wall's supposed to look like, or the lockers, anything with lines. Oh my god, it's
people that don't know what we're talking about is like, so when you use, I've never used Photoshop, but when you do use Photoshop, like if you pull like your waist in, the background behind you is also going to be pulled in. So like if you're standing in front of a brick or a wall or anything that you can see like visual lines on it, they're also going to be pulled in. So like now all of a sudden the brick behind you like looks like it's like, you know, deformed or whatever.
Yeah, it's wiggly.
It's
like,
wiggly
it's all
or
wiggly
like,
and
yeah.
curvy
And so, and then his thing is like, you know, he is like kind of like a vigilante. I don't think he's like going after people that are just photoshopping their photos just to put up there and say, oh, look at me. He's going after like people that are claiming like, this is how you can look this way if you follow my advice and buy my shit.
Yes.
So that's
Good point.
that's I think that's a big difference, is like he's not out there just attacking people to attack them. It's like, hey, these people are lying to you and they're selling you this shit, saying that you're going to get these results, but they're, you know, photoshopping, or they're, and you'll see. And it's not, he doesn't attack these types of people, but this is what I see on Instagram too, is like, you will see people that you can tell that they bought followers or things like that. It's another form of lying to you about, and like giving like you fake credentials, right? It's like no different to me than if you go around saying you have this education or a college degree or this and that. You don't really have one, because you just are paying for followers to make yourself look better and make you look like you're more knowledgeable, or, you know, that maybe you're a better trainer or something like that. And, you know, and you can tell because you'll see someone that has 100,000 followers, and then you'll click on one of their reels or something. You'll see it has like 2,000 views. It's like, that doesn't make sense. If you have 100,000 followers, more people should be watching your shit. So it's like, there's so much crap out there. And I like that he's someone that's going after some people, just, and doing it like in a way that, you know, he's not afraid of like the repercussions of it, but he's just kind of doing, you know, some good work. I think
he's doing the Lord's work. I think
doing the Lord's work. Yeah, that's it.
He's doing good work. I'm big on it. I love his stuff. I love when his posts come up. Maybe I'll buy a t-shirt from him. Like, I don't know. He just put a t-shirt up for sale. It's like, welcome to the show. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God. Like, he self-branded himself. Like, boom. Like, so good.
Yeah.
We recently have discovered him, but I feel like there is like an up and up that's been recently happening, because he keeps talking about it. How he's like, oh shit, I just went from like 40,000 followers to like 250 in like a week. You know, like he just.
I mean, he's got to end up on like good podcasting. He's gonna end up on Mind Pump or something.
Well, he's gonna end up on our podcast. Maybe I'll reach out.
He might be too big for us, but
I know, but it's cool. Every time I go to his page, I see more and more people that I follow him, which it's cool to see that. Where I'm like, yeah, cool. Yeah. Because those of us out there, there are good trainers and good coaches out there, but there is a shit ton. What I'm surprised is he posts daily. He posts multiple times a day.
Yeah. Different
people, which just shows you how many people are out there literally lying to people,
right?
That are coaches. To your point, these people aren't just people. Everyone, whatever. Not everyone edits their photos, but a lot of whatever celebrity or Instagram celebrity types do. But these are the coaches and the trainers out there selling people things, telling people that they can get. Yeah, it's sad.
And he's not also not like, if you're just a coach that's posting stuff and it's like it's not very good or something like that, like he's not coming after you. Unless you're like being fraudulent. Like, I think if you have any kind of ill will, he's gonna get you. But
that's right.
He's like Batman.
It's
awesome. So like, yeah, you gotta like watch out. So if you're out there like doing like dirty work, he's coming for you. But you know, if you're just a trainer like trying to do the right thing and you're just like kind of missing the mark a little bit, you're probably safe. But
I love it.
Yeah, if you're lying to people and he can prove it, he's a lawyer, by the way. Like, that's his like, yeah. So like he's good.
That's why he knows how to play the game. Yeah. He knows the game. He has his own lawyer too, for I'm sure the people that claim to come after him, but I don't think that they can't. He knows what he's doing. Yeah. Anyway, I love that. That's a really good note.
Check out Goob.
Goob U2 or whatever.
Goob U2, he's good stuff.
Fucking good. Well, we'll sign off. Everyone knows how to follow us, right? Cody Wescott Golf
Everywhere. Just
on the
type in Cody
Instagrams.
Wescott
Yeah,
Golf.
on the podcast, on the YouTubes. CodyWescottGolf.com is where you can find basically any link to our socials and our affiliates. They're also always linked in the show notes. I know we mentioned a lot of the Brewmates, the TRXs, the Stick Mobilities, and they're always in our show notes with our discount codes too for people that do want to go out and expand your home gym or whatever you got going on. So, but with that, we'll sign off.
Oh, thanks.